What is the evidence behind a 4-day working week? A 4-day working week trial ran in the UK for 6 months, to the end of 2022. In exchange for full pay, employees agreed to deliver 100% of their output in 80% of the time. Shortly after digital marketing agency Trio Media made its 4-day working week permanent, its chief executive noticed a dip in staff effort. "It highlighted to me we needed to work at productivity," said Daniels, whose business was one of 61 that took part in the UK's 4-day week trial in 2022. Another business that participated in the trial came to a similar conclusion. "The discipline always needs to be maintained. Every single person slips at some point and the productivity will slip," he noted. Their comments highlight some of the challenges facing employers overseeing a 4-day week long-term. A report released on Wednesday by think tank Autonomy, which campaigns for the 4-day week, and researchers at Boston College and the universities of Cambridge and Salford, found that 54 of the 61 organizations that participated are continuing the flexible pattern, while 5 have reverted to 5 working days. Disruption to working hours during the pandemic had fueled interest in the 4-day week. Workers at Lamborghini's production facility recently adopted the pattern. Polling last year by the 4-day week campaign found the majority of the public, 58%, expected it to become the normal way of working in Britain by 2030. In 2022, the Belgian government gave workers the right to condense their hours into 4 days, while the UAE has also expanded its weekend. Arup, the British engineering company, went in the other direction, allowing employees to spread their hours over a 7-day week. The issue has resurfaced in recent months as employees and unions have inquired about reducing hours as a compromise for below-inflation offers in upcoming pay negotiations, according to Joe Ryle, director of the 4-day week campaign. Positive change. Campaigners say the traditional 5-day week is outdated and inflexible, a sentiment shared by many of the businesses that took part in the shorter week trial. All the managers and chief executives consulted reported some positive effects. 82% reported improved well-being, according to the report. 46% of respondents proactively described positive change in terms of ways of working and productivity, leading to maintained or increased overall performance. Half said the shorter working week boosted retention and 32% said it improved recruitment. A year after the trial ended, employees continuing on a 4-day pattern reported that job satisfaction had fallen although was still higher than when they worked 5 days. Working hours. Working hours among the trial participants have dropped. Data provided by 28 companies showed their typical working week was 31.6 hours, an average reduction of 6.6 hours per week from the pre-trial period. Working patterns vary, with some organizations implementing a universal day off, typically a Friday, while others have allowed teams to decide the free time. 7% of the companies in the trial opted for a 4.5-day week. Employees at financial services firm Stellar Asset Management are expected to work part of their days off, named flexible days, if needed. Another approach is to vary hours according to the time of the year. Staff at Platton's Fish and Chip Shop on the Norfolk coast, for example, work up to 40 hours a week during peak times, offset by 24 in quieter times. Limitations. Michael Sanders, a professor of public policy at King's College London, said it was hard to draw broad conclusions from the trial. The study is a self-selecting group of employers and, within them, a self-selecting group of employees. There's no effort to identify the counterfactual, i.e. what would have happened otherwise. Gemma Dale, a consultant and lecturer at Liverpool Business School, is skeptical about how transferable the participants' experiences are. More than 3/4 of respondents had fewer than 50 employees. Just 7% had more than 200 staff. A 2022 report by the human resources body CIPD found only 1% of employers plan to reduce working hours without cutting pay. Dale pointed to the difficulty in measuring productivity in white-collar work. Some professional services firms measure hours. In reality, many organizations can't measure productivity. Revoking such a benefit can be a blow to employees, so employers embarking on a 4-day week trial are predisposed to keeping it. One consultancy returned to a 5-day week because it struggled with managing client and stakeholder expectations, according to the report. Some of its employees felt let down. Daryl Hine of Stellar Asset Management says, "We're not a large organization. If we've got a man down, or deadlines coming up, staff have stepped forward, regardless of a 4-day week." Work smarter. Another issue is work intensity. The report found it rose during the trial, falling a year later. Hine said, "You could argue work is more intense, less time having a coffee, but the trade-off is you've got a day extra off." But the efficiency drive prompted some staff to leave another business involved in the trial. "They like a more social element to work," said the CEO, "and would rather be there longer and have longer lunches. They miss the chats." He insisted most time saving was through working smarter. People are challenging the processes, coming up with hacks, using more tech. The sales and marketing people are using AI, meeting minutes are using AI. Technology is key. We couldn't implement a 4-day week if we didn't invest in tech at the same time. For another business, the change has meant higher costs as the business has increased headcount by 20% to offset shorter working hours. "We've taken a cut in profit this year, but we have a really good team and we want to invest in them," said Bernie Bracken, business manager. "If you have happier staff, they are more productive. It's wrong to say it doesn't cost you. Recruitment costs you. Moving to the 4-day week is not for the faint-hearted." Hutch, a gaming company in East London, likes to joke that it took 6-day weeks to prepare for a 4-day week.